The author of Genesis is making these points that are actually rebutting something like the origin stories of the surrounding culture.
We stand out from every other animal on this planet. And there's this crazy, wild war of biology.
And, you know, this is part of why people drink and smoke and do dope and all this kind of stuff, is because they're looking for a spiritual experience. They're looking for, like they actually call alcohol spirits. I mean,
Right.
They're looking for something higher.
To kick things off, I've brought you two thought-provoking clips that address one of life's most profound questions. What makes us human? In the first clip, Wesley Huff reflects on the uniqueness of humanity through a biblical lens. And then Mel Gibson dives into a similar question, sharing his perspective on what sets humanity apart. All of this is fueled by Joe Rogan's exploration of our origins. These conversations offer fascinating insights into how we view ourselves and our purpose. After the clips, I'll share a reflection that ties it all together. So stay tuned, you won't want to miss it.
The search for our origins is one of the most human, to know that we are particularly unique. We're so different. We stand out from every other animal on this planet. And there's this crazy, wild war of biology where life is just eating life all around us. And we just got to some crazy place that far beyond any other creature that's on this planet.
Yeah.
And we did it in a bunch of different ways. We did it in a bunch of different ways all over the place with different scribbles and different icons and different gods and different things. And we're all wondering, like, which one, where did it start? What was the origin of all this? Like, what was the need to write these things down? What purpose did it serve to have these myths and legends and stories? Like, was it just to keep society together, or was it to retell a very important story that was a very unique thing that happened at the dawn of time?
And that's why you see, I mean, the literary comparison of ancient Near Eastern origin stories is like a really interesting thing to do, because when you look at something like the Enuma Elish, which was the Babylonian creation story, and then you look at something like Genesis chapter 1, there are obvious crossovers with, like I said before, these ancient Near Eastern conventions. But then you can see that the author of Genesis is making these points that are actually rebutting something like the origin stories of the surrounding cultures. Matter is like eternal, and the gods come out of the created world, and that there's this narrative of the battle that takes place where some gods fight against other gods, and the world around us that we see and like human beings are the end result of this battle. And so they would read this on every Babylonian New Year. And one of the main themes was basically that, like, it's all chance. It's all a random mistake. You were created without purpose and intention because Tiamat gets destroyed, and she's the god that, you know, you come from. And then you read Genesis chapter 1, and it says, in the beginning, God creates the heavens and the earth, and he makes it good. And there's this idea that, like, that's countercultural in the idea that the Babylonians did not think that the world was good. And that, like, at the end of every refrain, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, and then it's very good at the end. And that humanity in particular is created in the image of God. Like, that's a very, not just like kings, which a lot of ancient Near Eastern cultures believe that kings were created in the image of God, but that humanity in general is created in the image of God. And this idea of the Imago Dei, that that's why you're different. Like, why are you different from all the animals?
Right.
Because you're given something that exemplifies of a unique quality. And then the ancient Near Eastern cultures that believe that, you know, the planets are gods, and that the sea is a god, and that Genesis chapter 1 looks at that, and it kind of subverts the expectations of the day in getting to this ultimate question of, well, why are we here? What are we supposed to do while we're here, and how do we get out of here? And it says that, no, there's purpose, there's meaning, there's intention. And actually, a lot of the things that you worship, it's pretty stupid because God created them.
Like I mentioned earlier, Wesley Huff's response gives Joe a lot to think about, something that clearly stayed with him. Just a few days later, he revisits this very question, posing a similar version of it to Mel Gibson. Let's listen to how that conversation unfolded.
I don't think I was some kind of, like, you know, legless thing that crawled out of the ocean. I don't think I came from that. I think I was created.
Do you think other things were legless things that came out of the ocean? Do you think like multi-celled organisms came out of single-celled organisms and there was some sort of a natural selection and random mutation and it led to everything else but us?
Sure, look at gain of function.
Right.
You can make stuff happen. And I'm sure stuff did happen. But I think it's all part of creation. I think it's all ordered. I think anything left to itself without some kind of intelligence behind it will devolve into chaos. And so that there has to be some big intelligence that orchestrates everything. Not that we don't have chaos in the world, but I think that's our own making.
But what do you think separates us from all the other creatures?
Wow. I think we have a soul. We're created with a soul. I just believe we are higher than those creatures because we have a soul. We have an intellect above theirs, and we aspire to higher things. We have aspirations.
Right.
And this is part of why people drink and smoke and do dope and all this kind of stuff is because they're looking for a spiritual experience. They're looking for, like they actually call alcohol spirits. I mean,
Right.
They're looking for something higher.
As we listen to these conversations, a profound truth begins to emerge. The question of what makes us human is not just philosophical, it's deeply spiritual. Wesley Huff reminds us of the striking contrast between ancient creation myths and the Genesis account. The idea that humanity is made in the image of God, what the Bible calls the Imago Dei, is revolutionary. Genesis 1:27 says, "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them." This speaks to a unique identity and purpose that transcends mere biology or chance. Mel Gibson builds on this idea, highlighting that we have a soul, a divine spark that connects us to something greater. This echoes what C.S. Lewis once said, "You don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body." Lewis captures the depth of our humanity, reminding us that we are more than flesh and bone. We are spiritual beings with a longing for meaning, purpose, and connection. And isn't that what separates us from all other creatures? Our desire to create, to aspire, to seek something higher. Ecclesiastes 3:11 puts it beautifully. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. This longing for the eternal is why we ask these big questions. It's why we search for our origins and reflect on what it means to be human. What Wesley Huff and Mel Gibson articulate so powerfully is that our existence is no accident. We are not random products of chaos. There is order, intention, and a creator behind it all. In a world that often tells us we are just another animal in the chain of life, the biblical perspective offers us a stunning truth. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, as Psalm 139 declares. So as you reflect on these conversations, consider this. What would it mean to live as someone intentionally created by a loving and intelligent God? How would it change your view of yourself, of others, and of the world around you? Perhaps the answer to the question, what makes us human, is simpler than we think. It is our reflection of the Creator's image, our soul's longing for the eternal, and the divine purpose woven into every aspect of our being. And if this conversation resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on what it means to be created with purpose and in the image of God. These are big questions, but they're worth exploring. If you'd like to dive deeper into this journey of faith and purpose, make sure to subscribe to this channel, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Let's keep this conversation going, because understanding what makes us human brings us closer to understanding why we're here. Thank you for watching, and may you find peace and purpose in the one who created you.